Here are 40 things every Warlock main should know. Did you know that you can throw a stasis turret up in the PvP map's sky border? This can really be a nuisance for your opponents when trying to either avoid being frozen or having to find where to shoot the turret. It's pretty common knowledge that you should run low mobility in order to Warlock skate faster. The reason for this is because one of the effects mobility has is tied to how high your initial jump gets off the ground, not to be confused with your double jump. When you have low mobility, you have a shorter jump height off the ground, therefore allowing you to fall back to the ground faster. This then allows you to activate your next jump sooner and being able to skate faster. However, if you run 50 mobility or higher, you're actually able to do a slide animation going into your rift. Any form of reaching 50 mobility will count towards this, including using lightweight weapons. If you use hold crouch on your mouse and keyboard, you can achieve this by pressing your crouch key and holding your ability key. If you're using toggle, you have to double press your crouch key before holding your ability key. And on controller, if you're using long press, which is the default, all you have to do is press your crouch key while sprinting, then hold your ability key. Essentially, it's like double pressing for a dodge ability, but you're holding that second button press. If you really want to optimize this, you can even start the process of it before you get your rift ability charged up. After using the new lightning surge aspect on Warlock, you can reduce the spread of your pellet shotgun spread if you shoot right after the melee animation finishes. Lightning surge also works incredibly well with waveframe grenade launchers in PvP. To take full advantage of this, just slide, fire your grenade launcher, and hit your melee button in rapid succession. If timed correctly, you'll notice that both are activated at the same time. When using Claws of Ahamkara, you gain 2 charges of Lightning Surge. Speaking of claws, using melee kickstart will only activate after expending both melee charges. If you expend a melee and you still have one charged up, you won't get any of the benefits from melee kickstart. In modes like Trials and Competitive, you can use your rift from behind cover as a way to go into third person point of view and gain valuable information on where your opponents are. While using your rift animation, you can move the camera angle of your guardian to scan the environment around you. Additionally, you can also use your Icarus dash as a free way to go into the third person point of view and gain information without having to use your rift charge. Empowering Rift and Healing Rift are the 2 class ability options that Warlocks have to choose from. They both have the same cooldown time, but Empowering Rift actually has a faster activation animation than Healing Rift does. This is important to keep in mind when using the Frost Pulse stasis aspect. When you use the Osmiomancy gloves, you get 2 Cold Snap grenade charges, but this also works when you use the stasis aspect Bleak Watcher to give you 2 stasis turret charges as well. In order to take full advantage of Icarus Dash skating, the biggest thing you need to keep in mind is your momentum. In order to increase your Icarus Dash momentum, you need to activate your Burst Glide jump while your character model is on a downward fall. Once you recognize that downward momentum, activate your Burst Glide, then immediately activate your Icarus Dash. If you time it incorrectly, you'll notice your forward momentum is much slower, so make sure to practice. Have you ever been in a melee fight with a Warlock and they just seem to teleport? That's likely due to them wearing Ophidian aspects, which increase the base melee lunge range from 4.5 meters to 6.5 meters. Not only does transversive steps increase your sprint speed by 6%, but it also increases your slide distance by 33%. It also has a really neat effect regarding being slowed. Whenever you're slowed by something, your movement speed will still be slowed, but your crouch speed is unaffected by any of the slow effects. Along with Arc Hunters, Void Warlocks are the only other class that has access to the Blink jump, and recently Blink got a massive change to its charge system. The Blink travel distance is about 5.25 meters. Blink now also has a 2 charge activation system where you can hold 2 charges at one time. This means that you can blink back to back after landing in between jumps. After a 2.2 second cooldown, both of the charges are refreshed. You will know when you've got both of the charges back after a very noticeable screen wipe and sound effect coming across your screen. This is very similar to what it does for the Icarus Dash cooldown. When using the Exotic Helmet Astrocyte Verse, you gain plus 30 to all weapons airborne effectiveness. You also get 100 ready speed handling when coming out of the blink animation, and your radar remains active during the entire animation. The Stag Exotic Helmet grants you 25% damage resistance in PvE and 15% damage resistance in PvP when standing in a rift. This damage resistance also stacks with the damage resist you get when standing in a Well of Radiance, making you even harder to kill. Your Well of Radiance actually does damage on activation and causes a burn effect to those caught in the initial slam, meaning you could theoretically kill someone with your Well of Radiance. This one might be more of a bug, but it's just absolutely wild. When you use your super without having it charged, and you've got the Incinerator Snap on Solar Warlock equipped, you actually cancel out any potential physics damage towards you. Another thing you can do with the Incinerator Snap equipped is cancel your slide animation by doing the same thing. While you're in your slide animation and you press your super buttons or keybinds, you will be taken out of your animation while still keeping your momentum. This can really be effective at keeping your momentum when trying to Icarus Dash skate. Despite the Warlock glide being the cringiest jump in the game, If you spam jump while going uphill, you can gain some crazy speed. If you PC fellas want to take it even farther, you can bind your jump to scroll wheel and really take advantage of this effect. Getting void kills while using Nezarec's Sin will add 2.5 seconds of increased ability regen. Each kill adds 2.5 seconds and caps out at 20 seconds. While Abyssal Extractors is active, your class ability and super energy recharge 200% faster, while your grenade and melee will recharge 300% faster. Eye of Another World will highlight any enemies that are below 50% health, and will even highlight Guardians yellow if they have their super. This also works on Guardians that are invisible, making this a pretty viable option against a team that is taking advantage of going invis. The other benefit from using Eye of Another World also grants 50% increase to all ability cooldowns. This increase can even exceed tier 10 cooldowns, allowing you to lower your grenade, melee, and class ability cooldowns that much more. Necrotic Grips has some really neat synergy with Thorn and Osteostriga, which are currently the only two confirmed weapons of sorrow in the game. With Necrotics, any charged or uncharged melee will spread corruption, and after an enemy dies from your melee, each death increases the mag size of Osteostriga. Thorn damage actually spreads corruption to other enemies surrounding the one that you damaged. You don't have to kill an enemy with the actual necrotic melee in order to spread corruption after a kill. As long as they die while they are corrupted, they will spread corruption to anything surrounding them. Normally, after you use Icarus Dash, there is a 4-second cooldown before you can activate another one. However, if you activate the Heat Rises aspect, you can actually perform 2 Icarus Dashes before you have to wait for the cooldown. Lunafaction Boots are a really good option if you're wanting to increase your DPS on a boss. Not only do they increase all allies' reload speeds inside of a rift, but you also get the same benefit when standing inside of a Well of Radiance. Sunbracers will make your solar grenades last twice as long and grant you intrinsic fastball, allowing you to throw your grenades farther. Karnstein Armlets will heal you for 50 HP upon getting a melee kill, and 30 HP for every second after, lasting 8 seconds. This can also be activated by using a glaive. Phoenix Protocol can grant up to 50% of your super energy back when you get kills from within your Well of Radiance. Your first kill gives 10% super energy, and every kill after grants 1.5% less than the previous. This caps out at 4%. So for example, kill number 1 in your well would give 10% super energy back. Kill number 2 would give 8.5% super energy, then 6%, then 4.5%, and then 4% for the remaining kills. This would go until you reach 50% of your super regain. When using Controverse Hold, you can use any Void Grenade to charge the exotic perk, but if you charge a Vortex Grenade, it can potentially activate Chaos Exchanger twice, once on the initial explosion, and once on the last few ticks of damage over time. This would give you about 3 seconds of approximately 1000% grenade recharge rate in PvP. If you're having a hard time countering aggressive shotgun players, try using Shadebinder with Osmiomancy gloves. If you run the Frost Pulse aspect, you'll end up having 4 ways to freeze any potential aggressors. You don't actually need to activate your glide in order to Icarus Dash. You can simply single press your jump button and activate your Icarus Dash. Not only is Icarus Dash an excellent way of Warlock surfing around the map, but it's also a great way to create separation when being rushed by a shotgunner. If you're able to react fast enough, just dash backwards and create some space. This also gives yourself a split second to determine whether you can use your special weapon, or if you can gun them down quickly with your primary. Your Well of Radiance can be destroyed if your opponents shoot the sword placed in the ground, but they can also shoot the orb that floats above the sword, so be sure to take that into account when placing your well behind objects. Titans, you're next.